Hi, you guys. How's it going? Owen and Graham here from Apex Music, back again with another blog. This week we're going to have a wee chat about burnout. Specifically, can you take on a bit too much work, especially with us being self-employed in the music industry? And what maybe causes it, and we'll maybe have a wee chat about the things that we do to try and sort of mitigate the damage and try and avoid it. So I guess start off chatting a wee bit about what...
No. Can't chat yet. We'll have to set our infamous timer.
We have to set the infamous timer that we never follow.
Yeah.
We're going to set it for 10 minutes.
It'll be more than 10 minutes. And he's done it.
And we're off.
Cool.
Right. Well, I guess, have you ever experienced burnout? I have.
Oh yeah.
I think, anyway.
I'm burnt out right now.
Yeah, I guess so. What is it for you? What sort of symptoms do you get?
It's normally just sort of a tired, no energy, just no ability to really just get things done. You just have to push myself a little bit further than I need to get to that stage.
Sort of a lack of motivation.
Yeah, and normally trying to record the guts of 12 bands in 12 hours does that to you.
Yeah, we've just finished, they just finished Cheaper by Dozen there the other day. I say they because I was off gallivanting doing...
You were there
other
for
gigs.
like 3-4 hours.
Yeah, I did 3 sessions and then went off to do 2 gigs, which is why I feel this is kind of appropriate.
So we're both burnt out then.
Yeah, I guess the reason why I feel this topic is kind of relevant is I've been feeling a little bit burnt out recently. I've been maybe doing like 5 to 7 gigs a week on top of like other stuff as well, and
Yeah.
like it's not as if like, you know, it's not as if it's loads and loads of hours, but late nights and stuff over time as well, I just start to feel a bit, you know, like tired, no motivation, and I guess that brings us on to what causes it. And
Well, there's, in my opinion, for me anyways, a lot that can lead to it.
Yeah.
It can be, it can sometimes be sort of, you can even hear it in my voice that I'm ruined.
just run down.
Gonna be one of the slowest vlogs in history.
Yeah.
But for me, it can be things like, well, Cheaper by the Dozen, it was fun, a lot of stuff going on, but it was more just like mentally and physically draining.
Yeah.
And like physically being, yes, you're running about. I don't really mean that. I mean more like listening to stuff all day, having to constantly be using your head. Like for 1 hour, you're dealing with a traditional band, which, you know, could be fairly simple, and then the next minute you're dealing with a thrash band, and maybe it's not so simple. Maybe they can't hear the vocals, and you need to find out why and what's going on. What's different than the last act? Why can they not hear their vocals? Because it's almost like, I was thinking about this yesterday. It's because as well as doing the studio stuff, because it's all live recording, it was almost like doing live sound and studio recording
at the same time, yeah.
and trying to help with videography and stuff like that all at once. And it can things like that, when it's like a real strenuous thing that's happening through the whole day, you're constantly using your ears, your every part of your senses.
Yep.
Can really throw you out at the end of the day. Like, I literally went home, I was like, I'm not that tired, closed my eyes out.
Yep.
That was it.
So it's physical and sort of mental
stress
as well.
I'm sure you've experienced it in both ways as well. Like, it could be maybe spend a lot of time doing something that maybe doesn't equate to what you thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't get what you thought about in the end, or something like that, or you're spending a lot, like, you see a lot of people doing like big freebies and stuff like that, and you're spending a lot of time on like a solo project or something and maybe not getting out of it what they want, and then at the end they're just sort of drained, sort of give up hope, stuff like that. That can happen to people.
That's another thing there is when you, for especially maybe people that are working on their own projects and stuff, when you pour so much time and energy and like so much of yourself as well into something, and you're already drained there, but if you don't get what you expect back from that, it's so disappointing, and it can manifest itself in you physically. Like, you feel physically just drained from all of that.
And that's things like that, not to get really deep, but things like that can lead to depression.
Oh yeah,
to mental health problems and stuff. And you know, there does come a time where you do have to just think, even if this is your livelihood and you're making money and you have to do it, sometimes you have to think, you won't be able to do that job if you don't just take a break and take care of yourself.
It's got to be sustainable as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're going to do this you're going to do this thing your whole life.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't spend your whole life,
doing it for 3 months and then having to take a month break because you're ruined.
Yeah, you can't do that. Like,
things like that just can't happen.
It's a lack of balance, I think, as well, with your social life.
Yeah.
And your family life and your free time as well. Like, if you're constantly, I always say constantly taking on gigs, but if you're constantly taking on work, you're constantly gone traveling or like writing out lesson plans and teaching or anything like that, and you have no social life, you're gonna feel.
Oh yeah, most 110%. Like, and I think it is a lot harder for people in the self-employed. If you're a musician, you're self-employed. If that's your income, you are self-employed. So, self-employed people in general. But if we're looking at musicians and people in the studio and all that kind of thing, it's hard for, especially musicians. I think it is hard for them because sometimes their social life and their work life, it's very hard to pull them apart.
Separate the two, yeah.
Because your social life probably is going out and gigging and meeting more musicians and talking about music all the time and doing this and doing that, and your whole life becomes immersed in music, where there is no real split between your social life and work life, and that can lead to a lot of problems.
That can be dangerous,
Sometimes you do just need to forget about music and go out for a drink with the boys.
Play a game of golf. Do something. Do anything. Like read a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Have a night in. That's something I struggle with really badly, actually. Not to go like way into my own stuff, but something when I get time off, like say like Tuesdays and Wednesdays are kind of my like 2 days of like theoretically don't have anything to do bar practice with the band or whatever. And I always have a wild thing of like going, I need to fill all this free time with things, activities, stuff.
Yes. So am I. I've got this big attitude of like, I've got free time. Why do I have free time?
Yeah.
I need to not have free time.
Fill it with stuff.
If I've got free time, I'm out doing enough.
And you need to sometimes maybe just go, which brings us quite nicely on to like how to deal with it. Now, in fairness, just before I like go on about how to like deal with burnout, sometimes you're just gonna sometimes you're gonna be burnt out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got a lot of work on. Sometimes you need it.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna be burnt out. That's what you're gonna have to do.
If that's your industry and if that's what you have to do to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe if you're a musician and you're looking like you have to gig every single night of the week, maybe it is time to look at how you're proposing your business and how much you're charging and stuff like that. Maybe that could be the problem. But if it is working out that kind of way, you'd need more money coming up to Christmas, something like that, and you're just flat out. Yeah. You are just going to get burnt out. There's not much you can do about it, and you do just need to take time for yourself.
Yeah. That's it. That's how you start to. You have to think about how to deal with it then.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do to deal with burnout? Like, I mean, it's easy to tell someone, just take some time off.
Oh, yeah.
Man, just crack on, just sit in your house.
Yeah.
But I know me, and I know a lot of other people, and they'll be going, I'm sitting here, and I could be making money. I could be working.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm sitting at home, I'm not making money. So what do you do? What is it? How do you force yourself?
I could have. Sometimes it's just power through it. Sometimes I generally just do like power through this week because I know next week is going to be a little bit more lax.
A little bit easier, yeah.
But sometimes it is just sitting down and looking at your schedule and being like, okay, I could maybe pile a little work in this week, ease off the second week, pile in again, do it sort of like that. Sometimes it can just be down to your schedule and scheduling things right. But then you could just look at your schedule might just have to be busy. Yeah. If that's how you need to make your living, sometimes you just need to have a busy schedule. But then it's probably just working out like downtime for yourself, time to just get away from everything, turn off your phone, get into your room, turn off your light. Don't talk to anyone, but just chill out with your family. Something that's not going to stress you out too much, and just sort of get away from what is draining you. Yeah.
Figure out what it is that's draining you. Funny, we were actually having this conversation off camera like a week ago or so, and I was having an issue with the fact that I didn't feel like I had any sort of routine in place.
Yeah.
And you said it could be something as simple as just going, I will have lunch and dinner at the exact same time every single day.
Oh yeah.
Pick or one meal, just pick one thing.
Yeah.
Pick one thing, a meal, or like you read this book that you're doing, that you're looking to read for 15 minutes at this time.
Yeah.
Without failure. And now you've got a routine.
Yeah, it's sometimes just having a routine and making a routine, because when you have something like that, your body adjusts to it, and it doesn't get as drained continuing a routine. Yeah, so sometimes you do have to just structure your life, your week, if it's your week, month, maybe a couple of months or something like that. Yeah, I think having a good structure to your routine, your life and stuff like that is very good for your mental health and stuff like that. As well as that, if we are going down that dark route of mental health and stuff like that, don't be afraid to talk to people if you are feeling mentally drained and there maybe is sort of like an underlying issue that you need help with. Don't be afraid to talk to your friends, family, or someone else. If you need the help, reach out for it. It can be, a lot of musicians sort of can suffer with it because of just being mentally drained all the time.
Yeah.
With gigging and constantly being out and playing.
Yeah, and feeling like there's no one really to talk to with.
It is a very lonely sort of thing. I know, like the whole musician thing, there's a lot of musicians going on, but sometimes it can be very lonely traveling 3 hours to a gig by yourself and stuff like that. Even if you're doing sound and doing other sessions, like you're sometimes traveling alone by yourself, and maybe just things sort of build up in your head and stuff like that. It's just good to get it out and talk to people.
Exactly. Bit of a decompression session,
Yeah,
like we were saying earlier
exactly.
on. Because after gigs, yourself, the big gigs or any kind of work that's kind of vaguely pressured, like high
Yeah.
pressure, that adrenaline dump afterwards, where it all comes down and you're just on the way
Yeah.
home.
You're sitting in the car going, did that even go well at all?
Yeah.
Things just run in your head, like.
Could be as simple as just having some tunes on the way home, or a wee
Yeah.
podcast that you like, something. Just introduce regularity, introduce normality.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good
But yeah,
bookend
structure.
structure.
Thank you very much for watching, and we're going to sign off. Good luck.
That's how I ended it last time too. Black screen.